Hello, 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 my darlings. Thank you for joining me on A Slice of Life, A Slice of Life. We're in February, which is Black History Month. And so I would like to start off Black History Month talking about Carter G. Woodson. He wrote this book, The Miseducation of the Negro. I know you all don't remember being called Negroes because we're pretty young, but we used to be called the N-word, used to be called Negroes, used to be called colored, Afro-American, African-American. And the truth of the matter is that we've never named ourselves. We never been able to name ourselves because we don't know from whence we came. We know that we were brought over, that's two groups. One group, the transatlantic slave trade, brought many of us over. And then there were people who were already here, brown and black. I know the indigenous people try not to think of themselves as brown and black, but they were brown and very black. In the meantime, in between time, let me just talk about the transatlantic slave trade that brought many of us here. And so at some point, they gave us a name called Negro. And it's the miseducation of the Negro. A lot of people, I need you to read this for the month of February. I like you to get this. And the reason why I like you to read this book, I'm going to tell you in a minute. But I noticed that Arlen Hamilton and Myron Golden and myself, I don't know how many more, but we want you to be millionaires. And they've already proven that they are millionaires. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm sure I've made $1 million over my lifetime, but I'm saying we talking about a new millionaires by the end of the year. Arlen Hamilton has a project that at the end of the year, she has an event where they made $1 million working with her within a year. Myron Golden, his whole thing is he wants you to make one tomorrow if you can. Make one the next day, depending on what you're selling. He'll help you set that up so you can make $1 million by the end of the month, $1 million every month if it were left up to him. And so this is, he talks about the miseducation. Let's talk about Arlen did not finish college. Let's talk about Myron did finish college. We talk about the people who are making millions of dollars. Did you know I live in the city of Atlanta, inside the city? There are people who say they live in Atlanta. They don't live in Atlanta. They live around Atlanta, Metro Atlanta, but I actually live in the city. I voted for the present mayor. And so that's Andre Dickens. So I'm in Atlanta in the United States of America. And I want people to read this book everywhere, but I need you to read this book as it relates to the miseducation of the Negro, not because it's an indictment, but because I wrote down it's an enlightment. This is not an indictment. It's going to read like an indictment, but what he's saying, and I have notes, okay? What he is saying is that about 90 years ago, 100 years ago, Carter G. Woodson warned us about miseducation. And I'm going to raise my hand. We did have it, and we have had it. We have had it, and we're still having it. About what happens when a system teaches you to see yourself through someone else's eyes. You know you saw yourself through someone else's eyes because we don't look like we look like the other people. We've been westernized, so we don't know anything but what we were taught on a Western scale, and we're learning little by little. Are we gathering little by little, or we're cultivating little by little, or we're curating little by little that blackness? We got Nubia State. We have a station called Nubia. We got young black youngins with the thrust, with the desire to want to know more about where we came from. You can find out now. YouTube. We got AI. We have Google. We have every kind of access now to get really, really down into the information. You take classes at the HBCU. There's somebody, there's a Dr. Black somewhere in the world that's going to teach you about yourself and where you came from. So you know that the book was written to inform us how we were educated through someone else's eyes. So what do you mean, Georgianne? Well, one of the chapters, chapter 1, talks about the chapter 1 is called the Seat of the Trouble. And education was designed to make Black people dependent, not self-determining. We were dependent, not self-determining. and how we missed the mark. We were raised, we were trained to seek approval. You know we were. And placement in systems that never intended to include us as equals. You see that now. Your people have risen to the top. I'm not taking away from people who got the opportunity to be corporate America and have real good jobs. But nobody talks to us about making $1 million and being an entrepreneur. Arlen Hamlin talks about it. Myron Golden talks about it. And while you are on YouTube with me, when you finish with me, go on YouTube and put in Black millionaires in Atlanta. Black young, Black old, Black middle class, Black neighborhoods. All of Atlanta is the mecca for the money for Black Americans. And why is that? Because we've always had that. It's always been like that. And it's been here like that ever since, and that was because we were separate. And because it was separate and equal, the Black people made that money. As you all say, they got the bag early. Atlanta Life, Mr. Herndon, Alfonso Herndon, first Black millionaire in Atlanta. I mean, you sitting on ancestors here. You sitting on land. You walking on sacred land. W.E.B. Du Bois walked up and down Chestnut, or walked up and down by Clark, Atlanta University. You see, this city, we had the education and the entrepreneurship, which is we had one edge above what Carter Woodson is talking about, because we had the education also, and we had the business acumen in Atlanta. You see, and so, but you don't necessarily always. There are many people, the people you're gonna see on YouTube, they will tell you they didn't finish school, or they didn't go back to college, but they got that entrepreneurship, and we buy among ourselves. The young ones are working with each other. I had a whole business of lotions and oils and Georgian skin treats, and I said all the time, you did not want to put on my lotion and my oil or anything I had, because you rather give that money to Revlon. We have told ourselves that the white man's ice is always colder. And I'm not talking against white people. I'm talking about how the system has trained us to like the white man's ice. And the ice is ice, but we'll go. We couldn't wait for integration. And I marched for that. But I didn't know we were marching, that we were going to leave our Black businesses, leave our Black doctors, and not pull them along. I have a Greek friend. He's passed away now. And you heard me say this before. He always said, Georgian, I don't understand your people. He says, nowhere in the world we would not help one another. I went to a restaurant this Sunday. The worst service, period. Black owned. Worst service, period. They were just, I can't believe anybody could be that nasty. And then conversely to that, conversely to that, there are some good restaurants with good food in them. And we, instead of patronizing them, because I'm not gonna leave that Black restaurant and not go to another one. I'm just gonna find another one. That's all. I have some restaurants that I like in general. There's some chains that are pretty good. That North is good, and with the Cheesecake Factory, I got all that, and what is Longhorns, because there's one in every neighborhood. Most of the time, somebody Black is the franchisee. But beyond that, I just think that we need to make everybody rich. Decide who you're gonna make rich. That's what I should say. You may not want to make anybody Black rich, but you want to be rich, and then you want to get the rest. You make some other people rich. But what's wrong with helping some other people gain that same kind of financial status that's okay to have in America? Everybody can have it except us. We always sit back, ooh. Why are we oohing at other people? Why are you not oohing at Georgian skin treats? Why are you not oohing at, what's the name of your business out there? At whatever, Janine's bamboo trees. Huh? Why are we not doing that? Why? So, back in the day, I forget his name. He had a book called, we do have the Atlanta Business League, which is a Black business league. And we have, we used to have the Green Book back in the day. The Green Book was for safety, but we might need to bring back the Green Book. I have to go on YouTube to find out where the places are, and they're doing well. they're doing well. Because I want us to do well. But Black History Month I need to see lay the groundwork for the $1 million. That's what I like to see for Black History Month. So let's look at another chapter. Another chapter, how we drifted away from the truth. What's the core problem here? Education detached Black people from African history and self-knowledge. Baby, I need to say that. I need to write that across there. One day I'm going to get it where Alvin had me, where I could point back here and there's some kind of writing behind me. Because I need to say it again for the people in the back. Where you at, Reno? I miss you. Anyway, education detached Black people from African history and knowledge. You know you didn't want to know anything about African history. You didn't want anything African. I'm not going to do that. Because I would say all my cabinets got to be white. All my walls got to be white. You know, we had color. You see all these colors? This is the richness I'm talking about. See how rich this is? This is how we looked. You see, these are African bracelets. You see? These some fabulous sleeves to go with it, though. This is African. So you don't want me? You say I don't want to wear African jewelry. Okay, I'm just telling you what Georgian. I'm just talking about Georgian. All right, and then there's some more Georgians out there. You know that embrace our richness. You don't always have to have an African wrapper, but you can have an African presence. It's in Africa in here. You see? So anyway, when we went to school, when did you learn Black History Month? You had Rosa Parks. Some little white kids right now somewhere learn about Rosa Parks, and they're going to say the Martin Luther King speech, I have a dream. They're going to say, oh, we have Black History Month. Are you serious? Well, we need to have for me, Black History Month is what? 365/7. 365. How do you do it? 365 days a week. 365 days. McDonald's says it's 365, and it is. Who built this country? Don't get me started. It's the third one. How we drifted away from the truth continues. False historical narratives were accepted as fact. False. These people did not let us know where we came from. They separated us. So my bloodline and your bloodline could be the same bloodline. We could be from the same family, but we didn't know that. Because now we don't know our history. We don't know where we came from. We don't know our language, which is why, I am just up to here with the people, white people, that just say educators, period, across the board, because there's some Black folk too that spend a lot of time studying the Black vernacular. Pray with me. Okay, pray with me. The Black vernacular, like it is an insult, like it is derogatory, like it's something wrong with the Black vernacular. You brought me over here. I was over there speaking 3 or 4 languages. So there's a rhythm in my DNA that has nothing to do with your European rhythm. So don't make my language be a bad language, or my rhythm, or my vernacular, or my intonation be something negative that you got to study. I don't understand that. Moving along. Number 5, the 5th chapter, the failure to learn to make a living. And this is where I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop on chapter 5. The failure to learn to make a living. Black people have never learned to make a living. I shouldn't say all Black people. Many Black people were never taught to make a living. Because one of the things he says is that the Europeans couldn't wait to get over here to sell us something. Because he says when we got our college degrees, there's nowhere in the world you would have a college degree that you have worked for, and you would go somewhere and open a store and sell penny candy. No, you wouldn't do that, because you're going to go get a teaching job, or you're going to get a job so you could have those wages come in, so you know you got that money, so you can get the house and the car and raise your kids. It's not a bad thing, but it's also not a good thing, because you also could have bought real estate, could have bought, got you a store while you were doing the teaching thing, had your store on the side, had you something going on the side, property, wealth. See, we were taught to earn money. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. But we were taught to make sure you got a job. But we were never, but in the meantime, that's what they taught us in school. I have been an entrepreneur. You know what people say? You always starting a business. At one time, I was like, oh my goodness. Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. What the hell was wrong with me to even question that? That the God would give me the know-how to start a business, to have to understand what it means to be an entrepreneur, and not having anybody with me. I did it as many times as I could, and I just didn't have. I didn't have anybody with me. Nobody understood it. Nobody knew to stick it out, to stay there. It's because now everybody listening to all these people on the video, but Georgianne was doing it in the 80s, in the late 70s, in the 80s, and the 90s. You're still a business. You know why? Because Georgia Young, my mother, I have never known her to work a job. She was like, you don't work a job? You provide jobs for people. That's what we do. So you own a business. You own a business. And business owners. And we just don't do that. We can't wait to have a corporate fair on the campus. When I taught at Clark Atlanta, because I don't teach at Clark Atlanta anymore, 21 years, yes, thank you, Jesus. At my department, my department no longer exists for undergrad, and that's where I taught. That's where I was qualified to teach, only at that level, because you have to follow SACS. In the meantime, when I taught, would like to teach about, they would have fairs on campus, and I would say, well, when are the slave masters coming? And the students would say, what are you talking about? I said, don't you have a slave auction coming up? And they would say, Dr. Thomas, what do you mean? I said, the job fair. That's a slave auction. That's modern day slave auction. They said, what you mean? I said, I tell you what. Everybody tell me what you're supposed to have on. Ladies, tell me what you're supposed to wear. And gentlemen, tell me what you're supposed to wear. And tell me how your hair is supposed to look. And tell me what kind of jewelry you're supposed to wear. And everybody said the same thing in every class. Do you not think that we were not taught that? That we were whitewashed into that? Who said that was the standard? Who set that standard? And that we had to follow that standard. And only when Zuckerberg, was the white boy, came along with a t-shirt that y'all woke up and said, oh, we don't have to have that on? They already knew, because they got us trained. Because what? The miseducation of the Negro. Read the book. Enjoy Black History Month. Dr. Martin Luther King, I don't take anything away from him, or Rosa Parks. Admirable people. But there's more to us. They are the result. Let's go back to the beginnings. Read Dr. Daniel Black's book, The Coming. Read about the people who came. Read about where we came from. Read about that we already knew once we got here. Read about what was in our hair that we hid in our hair to bring over here, that you eat now made $1 million off of, while we still in the asking for whether or not we're gonna get our SNAP card, the same food that we started. Know your history. Use this month to know your history. I've got a whole book in there that Francois Craig and Byron Saunders want me to do on Black women in history. It's about 100 and some Black women I'm going to say something about. But, and that's well, fine, and good. But I don't want to just talk about Black history and Black women. We have a Francois has and Byron produces Women on the Move Around the Globe. That's what we're all about. Ambassador Anne DeVoe. That's what we're all about. Women on the move around the globe, on the move. I want to add that part. But I also just want to talk about you using this month to get to the millionaire. What are your plans to be a millionaire? By what time? By what year? And if it's not money, what are your plans to have your creation created and out on sale? By what time? What are your plans to present your book on what day and what time? What are your plans to present your music and what day and what time? You got to write it down. You got to say it. You got to believe it. Otherwise, what is Black History Month about? It's not just to me about calling some names. Are you living Black history? I'm talking about living it. You're getting up every day and saying, this is my Black History moment. Let me go in here and type something. Let me go in here and create something. Let me get my music going. You know, I've had to back up for a lot of different reasons, not because I wanted to. I'm telling you, this is I've been very unhappy with my own progress right now. But I'm not unhappy with the person that's in the mix, and that's me. I just got to work me. You got to work you. I use me as an example. I tell you my shortcomings because I know it's somebody on the other side of the screen. You got some too. It's never too late to be a millionaire. You say, well, I'm already 73. I don't want to be one. You don't have to be one. What is that you know how to do? You know, there's a haberdasher on YouTube or TikTok. Bad brother. Every time I see him, he the way he lays out those men's clothes, I think about Wayne McMillan all the time. I would just like to open the store and put the men's clothes in there and just stand him in there and have you walk in there and just let you walk out with all that like that. You know, I enjoy watching those men do that. I enjoy watching the men make the hats. I don't see enough ladies make a hat because we associate the hat with the Koji people. But baby, we wore the hat. Okay, this is what we got. See how we do? We got the hats for the Koji women, or the women. There's certain women wear hats to church, like fine Miranda Mack. She wears bad hats all the time. Okay, my mother, Georgia Young, wore the baddest hats. My sister got most of them, but she gave me one or two. Bless my mama's soul. Anyway, but I'm just talking about where is all that? That's what we were. We wore crowns. You know, we adorn ourselves. You see me all the time. This is Karen Roach jewelry. You understand what I'm saying? Do you see the indigenous people? They have all their stuff on. It's okay for them. The Africans, when they come over, they okay, that's all right for them. But I come out, well, no, well, when you come to the interview, you need to have on one string pearl and one pearl earring and your hair pulled back and all that BS. Who said that? Come on, wake up. If nothing else, let me ask you to do this for Black History Month. Wake the hell up. Ooh. My next one gonna be hanging straight down because I just want the look, whatever look. I want some braids hanging straight down and something hanging straight down. Or I want something hanging straight down. Just for me. Black History Month. I love you. I do. And you can't do anything about it.